Good morning, Shay and Blackbird. We are down here. Does anybody know where we're at today? We are down at City Beach, and it looks a little cold. I don't think I would try to swim today. So normally when I see you guys down here, we have our big swim raft out there and a lot of kids playing on the beach, but we're not quite that warm yet. So we still have some ice in the bay that's not safe to be on. I can hear the geese in the background coming back because there's some open water around by our docks, so they have a place to land. And then does anybody know what our peninsula is called? So the point that comes out and around, so it's a point that starts to come back towards shore. So if we see that, does anybody know what that's called? So Harbor Springs has what's called a recurve spit as part of its point, because as it comes back around, and that's what makes it so that the wind and the waves can't get all the way into here, so it helps protect us and our boats. And we have one of the deepest harbors in Michigan. So that's one thing that makes our area in this place pretty special. So I picked this place to read to you today, probably my new favorite book, and I say that every time I read one, but I just found this one at between the covers, and it is called Along Came Bear. And we're going to discuss at the end what makes this book pretty cool, or I think makes the book pretty cool. I want you to see if you can figure it out as we go. So, Along Came Bear by Richard T. Morris, and illustrated by, and I think this is how you pronounce it, Lien Pham. So, once there was a river that flowed night and day, but it didn't know it was a river until Bear came along. Bear was just being curious. Then he realized what a river could do. But he didn't know he was on an adventure until Froggy hopped on. Froggy was a lonely frog who was looking for a friend, but she didn't know how many she had until the turtles showed up. The turtles tried to warn them about the things that could go wrong, but they didn't know how to enjoy the ride. So it looks like our turtles are kind of nervous. Until Bear climbed aboard. Beaver was born to captain. He knew exactly where to go, but he didn't know about the detours until the raccoons dropped in. The raccoons were so excited about the twists and turns ahead, but they didn't know that they had to be careful until they crashed into a duck. Duck was so content being right where she was, but she didn't know there was a world to see until... let's make a good prediction from using some of our picture cues, our picture clues. What do we think is going to happen? Do you still think that your prediction is right? Bear held on to Froggy, Froggy held on to Turtles, Turtles held on to Beaver, Beaver held on to Raccoons, Raccoons held on to Duck. Oh, what a ride! so many different animals live their separate lives, but they don't know they were in it together until the river came along. So, what is one thing that you guys noticed as we read that was different about this book? Something that I think makes this book very special. So let's take a look at the very beginning. And we usually don't talk about illustrators in our books, but did you guys notice that as the characters came through, our river was one of our first characters? So everything else is kind of black and white or brown, but we have that beautiful blue river until Bear showed up. And then as we introduced our characters, or as the author introduced our characters, the illustrator slowly added in more color for our characters until the very end, when we had all color. But one of our last pages, it said, so many different animals live their separate lives, but they didn't know they were in it together until. So you can see our characters that were in the story are still colored, but it looks like some new characters we haven't met yet. So they didn't know that they were in it together. So the illustrator didn't use color to represent them. I thought that was a very cool way to give us some picture cues and some clues as we read our book. Bear came along. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope that you are having a wonderful break, and I hope that you are ready to get back to learning. And please make sure you guys are still trying your hardest on some of that optional homework we sent home. Some of the I Ready, Epic, and Learning A to Z, or RAS Kids. So hopefully your teachers have been emailing you and or your parents and sending out some updates. And we will see each other right after spring break.